History remembers me as Vlad the Impaler, but nowadays I go as Josh Peacock. I'm a tattooist, graffiti artist, illustrator, gymnast.
I'm Simon, I'm a musician, and I'm from planet Earth. So I started off on piano when I was about 8, moved on to guitar when I was 13 and taught myself, learnt bass when I was 17, and since then I've just been kind of working on various different disciplines in regards to instrumentation and vocalization.
My name's Lindsay and I'm a mixed media artist. I do special effects makeup, media, body art, and I also do digital art and acrylic as well.
I was a very unwilling tattooist. Everyone told me you must be a tattooist, and I was like, no, I'm a graffiti boy. But after a while I started seeing graffiti style tattoos at the shows that I was doing the graffiti for, and I was like, okay, you got my attention now.
I have been drawing for pretty much most of my life, ever since school. My parents were just really encouraging with that kind of stuff.
I think when I first started to try writing songs when I was about, I want to say 15, I found that I felt better afterwards just for having sort of taken something from the turmoil in my head and put it onto paper and into some kind of physical construct. And I realised it was like taking the thing in my head that was screwing me up so much and removing it and essentially putting it into a form that couldn't do me any harm anymore.
Art is a way of healing for me in terms of the way that it can take you away from the mindset that you might usually find yourself in. There's always like a pattern with it, so I'll go however many months without doing anything and I'll just feel lower and lower, and then you start doing something again and then it makes you happy.
Why else would we fascinate on it? It's even when it's destructive, and it can be, there's a growth within it. I still try and fuck up my own artistic patterns. You know what I mean? Like when I sketch, I purposely draw badly. I draw like literally the most wonkiest things like that, but you can make sense of it. There's things you take out of it, and I always thought it was me, and then I read about other artists and I was like, it's a thing.
As far as subject matter goes, personal experience is quite good for lyrical content. Like when I've had horrendous days involving considering jumping out of windows just because I feel a bit sad for no reason, then it's just, yeah, okay, I can write this down instead of actually doing the thing I thought about doing.
I was homeless for like 8 to 9 years, and I was a junkie, heroin, and I'm not glamorising it. I was a tinker. I've got a substantial criminal record. Just so small. Everything is so small, but I never went out my way to hurt anyone or harm anyone, but shit got real quite a few times. People tend to disappear at that point, and I don't mean disappear as in die or get murdered, but disappear as in they just go too far through the rabbit hole to deal with this, and so they do just leave the scene.
There is a pretty direct link, I have realised over the last little while, between my history with self-harm and my movement towards creating body art. I started off with doing things like henna, and then I moved on to special effects and things like that. It is just creating marks on the skin which might be there for a little while, but that they don't do actually any damage to you. So it's been a way for me to move away from I might say like an addiction to hurting yourself basically, and turning it into something that's more about expression.
The only time my life screwed up was the second I put down the paintbrushes. If you're that way minded, that's your diary. It's your diary of your sanity, your progression, everything like that. If you haven't got the art and you rely on it and then you take it away, you've got no point of reference. So it's just like anything. Anyone else who's obsessive about anything, you take that away and mischief creeps in.
When it comes to listening to music, it's kind of like, it's the difference between decorating space and decorating time. So if you decorate time, it feels more like a lived experience rather than just like looking at a thing and kind of going, I've looked at that thing now, I'm going to go over here and look at another thing. Whereas you sit down, you have to listen to the music and just be like, this is a lot of feelings I'm feeling over a period of time. Wow.
I genuinely don't know where I would be or who I would be without artwork, because there's nothing not to trust in art really, because art is just your own self-expression.
Oh, I'd be dead. I'd be hardly dead. That's why I'm naturally happier. I have a sunny disposition. I should have died a long time ago.
I think if you have the desire to try and make something that is representative of the lived experiences you have, either visually, audibly, or a combination of the two, do it. Yeah, if you have the drive to make your pain become art for other people to consume, then it is a very time-consuming process, but is so rewarding.
It's the act of actually creating the art which is doing the healing. So it's not about what you end up with. You can be really, really crap at art and then still be able to get as much out of it as someone who is really great and can do all of this stuff. It's kind of taught me how to be more forgiving of myself. It's mostly been about building confidence and also learning to remain adaptable even when things might go wrong.
Just do it. The people who beat themselves up the most are the ones that expect perfection but aren't prepared to put in the legwork to improve on it. Everyone's always breaking their balls to make it into a profession. I've just started pyrography. Buy my pyrography. You know what I mean? I'm not buying your first one. I'll buy your 20th one when you start to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? I'm not an idiot.
I think music would probably be the thing I always come back to in terms of working through stuff and just trying to provide a soundtrack for my own life.
I would say to anyone that's currently struggling to not be afraid to just give it a try. Sometimes the last thing you feel like doing is actually one of the things that's really going to help you. You kind of come to realise that you are the only one that can really hurt yourself, and if you don't want to, then you don't have to.